clear. He immediately replied, where hunchback medicine has risen to the position of the first man in the world, but still not recognized by the world. It's because his martial arts are unknown. And at the time, that martial arts thing, we've taken down all the gypsies on gypsies. It's a story we never think about. There's a lot of skepticism that, is he really the elixir? Although there's been a lot of rumors. But the elixir came out in denial, so all the questions subside. However, after the elixir died, one of his acquaintances has revealed the truth. That's something only a few schools know. My feet sighed. I've told you everything I know. In the heart of thought, now I've taken one more step. He said that again, so let us go. Middle buttocks clapping chest. Of course it is, and I will forgive you. I am a man who keeps his word. I know there is a sign. You broke up, said the last. Give me the museum. Let me walk. Scream out loud. Wait a minute, we can't deliver the museum. Come out. The Chinese nodded and continued. Of course, I know that as you think. You have a museum, and you can't find it. I alone have tilled this Indonesian land. It's also hard to find. Do you think I make sense? So at least your family. Please give me some information about the museum. You start to psychologically manipulate. Even more so, if you keep going like this. Not for a moment. Martial arts are coming like a flock of ants. I just didn't have a sword. They were just being chased. It's no different than a chicken chase. Finally concluded. So go ahead and bring the museum. The truth of life must have never met anyone as absurd as this. Why do we have to do that? You can't stop crying, Tang said. The man threatened not to give it. He was afraid to cry. Maybe a major. But you're stealing other people's clothes. If you are religious, you must interrupt him. Don't you find it funny? Put your ass up. It's created a tremendous dynamic in the middle of the forest. The terrified brothers sat down on the ground. Looking anxiously at the forest, he called out to his brother. Come back here. Middle but warning. Choose to go to the museum and come back. Martial arts is calling for reinforcements. He pointed his hand towards the work he had just created. Otherwise, you will be buried here. Until we find the swordsman. Which side do you choose? He was scared and trembling. The face doesn't speak. Cry without a cry. It's not about giving up greed. You can become a real warrior or a saint. After using violence to steal the museum from my ass quickly returned. I'm running and opening a museum. I wonder if you look at this map. I have to learn its instructions. I found that tomb. Why this medicinal old man? You want to make it difficult for someone else or something. Smiling, he continued, but not at all. With the good Jiang, called Tan Long Hoa-san, there's something we can't do. Open your eyes and focus. Take a close look at the museum. Getting closer and closer. Maybe he's going to use his eyes as a SAO magnifying glass. Open to red eyes and close to the face. Angrily threw it to the ground. What the hell is this? I watched it forever without understanding anything. Traces of key or ink. There's no more tricks or instructions. In general, I'm a genius who beats people's heads. And this game is really good. Close your eyes and focus on thinking. To all my dear brothers in my head, I'm going to have to hand over this museum thing now, for the others. Pick up the paper and speak quickly. The king was beaten by you for a fight. Now get this out of here. Or a little more. The martial arts people are going to crowd up. He brushed off the guard, saying to himself, even if you call yourself the first flower like me, it's not okay to fight with the martial arts. Estimate the time when the martial arts are coming to Indonesia. Probably 3 days. 3 days in this 3-day period. You have to hurry. Find the location of the swordsmanship before them. In the middle of the ass, thinking. In there is a method of compounding the knitting mixture of pharmacopoeia. I have to get it. If there's a mixed knit, the paint can be again. The name of the world is reborn. You're tired of hugging your belly. Go eat what is already calculated. It's really hard to jump like a fleaback. Leap Cardboard is still standing in the dilapidated house, standing in front of the door, saying, we're sitting here waiting for him. He's not okay. You go back to ask the white sky. We should go and see if there's anything wrong with him. He chased the rising martial artists. We just need to track them. Is to find him. The white sky replied, but if you go there. The American face looked up and continued. Can we stop that guy? You wonder, what sins have I committed in my previous life? And now there's such a scoundrel. Everyone sighed helplessly. Ju-won looked up again. I don't know what he's doing. Not here. Leap Tone with White Sky finished listening. They both looked back at you. You keep talking. I didn't mean that. Maybe he's just chasing the wrestlers. I'm trying to do something. I'm not sure what happened. You don't have to think too much every time your ass gets hurt. Everything has its reasons. And he knows it himself. Let's solve what he did. White Sky replied, but say whatever you want. Everything he does has to do with us. That when we're pulled into trouble again. That he did. We all fell silent. The Yogin turned to look at Jesus. In the heart of thought. In this situation, but you can still drink tea like that. That's a strange person. Suddenly, you realize something. Open your mouth and say a B word. Just finished the words. The wall in front of the building fell. I stopped to say a little bit wrong. Leap Tone generalization. It's hard to get through the main door. SAO. You paid to get in. And then take the museum from the chest. Put your face up and get everyone to focus. You scold me again. Focus on what the hell. Where have you been? In the ruined house. The entire group of Hoa Sun disciples gathered. Your hands on the paper are right. We have to solve this museum. White Sky sweating to speak. But wait a minute. Before we get to the museum. I can. His panicked face asked. You said, tell us. I stole this museum. Where is it? He said stupidly, I haven't told you. It's from the sword. After listening to the color fly. The ring then asked again that the sword is SAO. He replied, what's so strange? He looked up at the roof and laughed. So that's it. I ran after the martial artists and robbed this museum. The white master shouted angrily. Why would this crazy guy do that? Two brothers on both sides held hands, but still scolded. You know what you did? Have you thought about the consequences of this? Those martial artists are not going to ignore us. They're going to go to the paint shop for that argument. Chinese Cotton faced careless life to continue. Don't worry about that. I was wearing a strange face, and I was even more indignant. But I fought with the wooks there. I fell to the ground. Oh my God, this is different from plucking a lion's nose. Why did you suddenly chase and steal? This is a museum of martial artists. You called out to the master. He held up the museum, Ra said. Do you know what this is? I don't want to have Sao. I asked again, if you don't want this museum, then I will return it to you. If you don't say anything, I'll return it. But this is the elixir grave. It has a way of making mixed knitting. The white sky bites its teeth thinking it must be poisonous. But there's some hesitation. I rolled the hood thinking, how poisonous. It's impossible to ignore this knitting mixture. It's the world's most famous blend. How can we get through this? Oh my God. Then the master continued. If you live your whole life just following the rules, always live in safety, then SAO can have new experiences. How can you make yourself move forward? Sometimes we need to do things. Go beyond those boundaries. Right? You hold hands determined to encourage my will. Now we have to take a gamble. Don't pay attention to this. You're going to have to do it all by yourself. Knitting mixture must belong to Hoa-san. The white sky fainted, baby. Your hands can be white. Hoa-san silent for a few seconds. If it's black, it can be. You keep talking, but no. If it is red, we're going to get everything we want. The Yogin bowed his head. Turn to opinion. This time, I agree with the middle. He explained. We've already done this. You can't regret it. There's not much time left. Martial arts people are of Hui-san, but they'll quickly pull more people in. Let's go back to Indonesia with the masters. Then we can fight them. If they do, they need to hurry. The master shouted bewildered. Oh my God, so is your other teacher. The ring stood there silent for a moment. Also agree. We have to hurry up. Middle buttocks turned bewildered to ask the tone ring. I agree with that opinion too. In my mind, the steady gaze of these kids. They seem very determined. When you come to this country, the leader of a group like you, how can I give up? Okay? White Sky asked. We just need to solve this museum. He bowed his face anxiously. But maybe, when we solve the mystery of this museum, then there's another problem. Not really. The master has agreed. The middle buttocks replied with a smile. No SAO. Just solving it is enough. No matter what the pitfalls are in the sword race, they will definitely pass. Bach frowned and asked if I could do it, and bowed his head. In this country, we have no other way. You can't bring back martial arts. It's over. Even if you are punished by the chief, then you'll have to do it too. You ordered the gun, and both said yes. turned to me too. Determined to say, let's work together to solve the mystery of this museum. Always go before Vo is coming to Indonesia. We need to get into the swordsmanship and get away to make Nan mixture. The whole crowd raised their hands and screamed for the mixed knit. Mixed knit. Mixture knitted in but smiling satisfying thoughts. They're all grown up. The brothers and sisters are still excited to sing. Mixed knit. Until late at night, there is still a lot of energy. On the other side of the building, there's a guy staring. No one else is Wei Li Sun sighing. In just one day, the wall was torn down. I really want to forget all that. He closed the door and entered the room. I am worried about not knowing why anymore. But since they've been here, we've been sick all year. He's in pain, they're choking. My whole body screeched. Afraid someone will hear you shut your mouth. I told myself I need to try a little harder. In the heart of Wei, the master understands. My own wound. It can't be cured with drugs. This internal injury cannot be completely cured. But you want to hide. Can't let them see this disease. Stand up, you think. This is the time when the world needs us more than ever. At an important time like this, he needs me. To be able to restore it to the way it used to be. If we do SAO, who will take care of the flowers? If we die, we can't close our eyes. Then the pain came back to me. Owner grimace, bite the teeth endure. Try to get to bed. You encouraged yourself to go on vacation. Taking a break will be fine. Then take off your shoes and go to bed. There's a lot of work to do tomorrow. This body can't break down right now. You need to try. Until Hoa photo by restore the position as before. Then you can let go. A hand holding his chest determined. We need to keep pushing until then. Surprise. I don't need to knock on the door as naturally as my house. That opened the door and walked in. Stunned Sun turned to look. I asked him why he was on vacation. Wei, the master asked the master to come here late at night. What's going on? Take your hand out of your chest and ask the leader. What is not comfortable, Sao? He squinted at him. Close the door and come in. Wrong, the uncomfortable person is not me. It's that subject. Middle buttocks, boots, feet, hands on. Something is urgent, so we need to deal with it now. Mr. Wei asked stupidly what the chief said. He didn't answer. He walked up to him, put his hand in front of his chest. Pressing him painfully, screams, "Wait a moment. You don't care to transfer energy through your arms." Order Wei Shan not to open his mouth. The mountain doesn't understand what's going on. Hurry and shout. Wait. Natural leader. What's the mayor doing? Middle buttocks said internal injury must be treated. Master Wei asked again. The mayor said he'll treat my internal injuries. He said in a sweat to the mayor. It's not as easy as you think. If there's anything wrong, it's not just me. Even the mayor will be injured. You are happy to answer. How can there be that? In the middle of the ass, understand, I know very well what it would be like to fail. And you know how to treat internal injuries. There are two ways to control injury. One is to use your own power to adjust. The blood is in chaos. As Wei Li's son, incompetent to self-medicate internal injuries, at this level, his mood is in chaos. If so, there's only a second way. Others will turn their power on to restore that blood. It has 10 times harder than the first. Middle buttocks use the other hand, gripping the Wei master's arm. It stretches out and infuses internal force. You open your mouth to this crazy guy. You locked the mine. It almost came in and out through the mouth. If the internal force suddenly comes out through the mouth like that, then surely he will be possessed by the ghost. Wei Li's son's blood is slowly healing. Fortunately, you are not completely injured. Looks like it's working. May the master no longer resist. Silently think it's true. The pain we've endured for a long time is slowly disappearing. A source of cool and warm internal energy. It's all over your body. You wonder if this is the spirit of the Taoist. The leader is a disciple of Hua San. Then he realized something he thought he had just said. My ass is still covered. He told me to try a little harder. It's almost done. The old man thinks Theo. As far as we know, we're talking at the same time. We'll be able to cause martial artists to fall into a trance state during the internal transceiver. Even the elders of the middle school. I dare not do that. How did this person? He suspects that this leader is the AI after all. Your hands tell you to sit up. Master Wei tried to sit up slowly. I keep my mouth shut in amazement, thinking my body. He put us on our knees. To think our bodies turn themselves around and sit in a flat position. Middle butt, announce, from now on, we will do the great heaven. He was surprised by the great Jothin Sao. You explain. To put it simply, I'll clear all the blood vessels in your body. To treat internal injury, including the normal meridians. Difficult to affect. He still thought in bewilderment. Normal meridians are difficult to operate. Middle cotton required. Take control of your inner power according to my instructions. The old man worried. Is this really bad? But right away, you just said we're going to start. Just ventilated the circuit. Wei paint bite resistant teeth. The air leg flows through all the vessels and huddled together at the plantation like the flow of a river. To say the opposite, the garden is the most ideal place to air leg LAN out the whole body. It's a very sensitive place. If negligence acts a little bit wrong, it can also destroy the entire body. But the middle of the SAO can be careless. You think that the universe has to slow down. But now we don't have time to do that. It's happening so fast. There may also be a risk of conflict. To some extent. If you let it be, the body of the owner will be destroyed at a rapid rate. So what do we do? Of course, there's suffering. You have a blocked artery. Taking what's accumulated in the body and wash out the internal injury. Then, the internal force is rotating throughout the entire body. It will go back the way it went. And back to the body of the middle buttocks. That's the best. And there's one thing you didn't tell the Wei master just now. Repeat this process 12 times. It will complete the 12 heavens. That is, Wei Li's son suffered 12 times. Internal force rotation. From Wei's master's building. The bright light erases all the darkness around. The first and last time. The old man's whole body was smoking. Middle but retracting hands. Then it was over, and he looked up with 2 hands. I feel the pain on my face. Shoulder massage, foot massage. You don't feel any pain now. It's not just at a better level. Your power is even more powerful than before. Master Wei asked the chief about this. Hoa-sun will remember it. He continued, the mountain does not forget your favor. Master, please receive your gratitude, that you've been painting for 15 years. He clapped his chest. Hope, Master, please also protect the name of the paint as it is now. If so, the next day, name Hoa photo subject and Hoa-sun. Together, we will be celebrated throughout the world. The master looked at the person facing the middle of the buttocks. 3rd-generation disciple of the great Hua Sect. He is called the Dragon God. After a long wait, now I've achieved my wish. He tearfully thought of what I've always dreamed of. That's Tran Hung Hoa photo subject. The tears of emotion fell down. He hugged me and said, I will do it the most. He promised the next day at noon. My depressed ass says not this. The floor was filled with papers and signs. The white sky bit his finger and said if it wasn't here. You hold your head and complain, where am I wrong? Yogen has a brain disorder, and moaning I'm trash, and just banged my head on the table. The ring scratched its head to the bald top, muttering to itself, a little more to the right. Not on the left. Even my teacher is no less. Face yourself against the wall. My ass asked what everyone was doing. All those pale faces looking at you startled. What is it? I'm surprised you can't solve it. The white master spoke, although we're also considered by many to be geniuses. But this is really hard. There's no answer, I'm sure, in the world. The number of people who can solve this is not 3. Thien Min said Vo is solving it. White sky sweating speculation. Looks like he's got a genius. You immediately questioned. Then why do you mean that Hoa-sun can't solve it? What martial arts is solving? Angry white sky, who said that? There will be someone out there who will solve it. You rush to justify. It's just the present. We lack the time and resources to solve it. And the disciple said that. The white master spoke again. Even though SAO is a bit too much for our abilities. We need to have people who are trained in French. Or a map of something. Yo-one came in. But find someone who's an expert on things. As an agency in Chengdu, it's not that hard. SAO. It's even harder in a rural place like Indonesia. I asked my ass what I thought. I think we've got to get to the big city quickly. Then, I can't say enough. I'll call CA in a minute. The fighters are coming here like hungry dogs. That's it. What does your ass look like? Go to the big city to find a solution. Hand only blame. So we can't solve this at all. So I sat and watched the wrestlers. Let's clean up the mess and get stronger. White sky faltered in defense. Is there no other way? The teacher who scolded the master like your son turned to question. There is no way. The white master was bewildered. The scary face continued. There's always no way. White Sky and Leprechaun wonder. How does he feel? In the heart of unwholesome planning, what's he trying to do? In the ruined room of Hoa Sun. In the ass asking if this is real. Give it back to the museum. It seems to be true. It's a little confusing, but everything has rules. Then go on. If we have more time, we can keep trying. He looked at the paper and asked. In short, this must be real. In my heart thinking how to do this. You just have to find a way. I hear you say, middle ass. This was impossible from the beginning. Not just with us. It's hard to deal with martial arts. So this time give up. Before I could finish, I interrupted him. Are you questioning your brother for what he just said? The ring says give up. You asked not to ask before. Receive, you say. Only with us. You can't deal with martial arts. Look at your ass, stiff face. Repeat just to us. Then with a foolish smile of agreement. Yes, just with us. It can't be done with us alone. Then conclude that. It just doesn't have to be just for us. The brothers were stupid and didn't understand. You're interested in asking me to bet once. It's like Brother Lung just said. We alone can't deal with martial arts. Then let's make a big bet. Chinese Cotton came up with the idea. We'll float around the world believing that somewhere there are swordsmen in Indonesia. A few seconds of silence passed and everyone was silent. The teacher was confused when she heard it. The first person to say it was White Sky. Are you normal? The master shouted. This information is precious. How to know? I'm going to take it to Moss all over the village. Next door, are you really awake? The wisest brother Chen came in. It's true that this sounds crazy. But if you think about it, it's not a complete word. Sigh. The brother sat down and stacked the stones. Master, think about it. If your eyes are red, search for that strain pull here. The number of people is not small. Put 4 small tiles around. And holding a big brick, let the middle continue. If so, only 5. It is hard to stop martial arts. If all of them are attacking at the same time. Even if there is a middle but. We also have no chance of winning. That's a thoughtful brother. The 5 red bricks are them. Cardboard rings stand up extruding small piles of sand around. And the stones are gathering round. It's for the martial artists. If the other factions all over the world come together here, the next Yogin will cause a mess. If you agree, that's the thought. It's fragile, but there's a chance. If you are alone up here, it's hard for us to get in. But if multiple factions create a mess, then we can fish profitably. Not yet, and for us. If the mess happens, not that few people will pay attention later. When I finished listening, I closed my eyes. The master spurred the words. It seems like everyone's crazy. But it's not completely absurd. Then we can conclude. He was riding on the back of a tiger. Then he turned to ask Chu's ass. So how do we get the word out? Do we have to go around screaming? Is there a sword in this place? The middle ass monk sighed, who wants to believe it. The master continued to ask, so do you have a cool way? We don't have time. He opened his mouth. How we're so flamboyant. No one believes it either. This news must come out of the mouth of anyone who can be trusted. Everybody's wondering who it is. He crossed his arms and asked, what is it? It has to be somewhere, right? He laughed and said, let us go for a while. Everybody just rest. Vo is sending. The old man asked me if I had lost. Seriously injured again, Sao? The master replied, yes, master. He had a cup of tea to enjoy. Say more. The rumors about the Dragon Ball are true. He's the real bad guy. Master Vo is sending. His serene face leisurely said, he defeated 10 disciples in a row. Second life of the South. It is not strange to beat the injury. That happened 2 years ago too. He called out to the illusory foot. He said, yes, master. The chief asked, do you know why this is happening? The answer is because of the stupid students. Foot negative. Not. The reason this happened was because of the martial arts characteristics of martial is. All types of martial arts are more proficient, more powerful. But with the martial arts of Vo is that maturity. It can't be compared to other schools. The deeper the power, increased enlightenment, and the longer the time to acquire the sword, the power will rise like a snowy mountain. He continued, we can confirm something that's unfounded. If you do not learn martial arts, you are. He was not defeated by the dragon god. What is it? He asked if you understood what I said. His feet he raised his head thinking. How does the master expect an answer? If the answer is yes, it is different from insulting martial arts. The answer is that word is wrong. It is like spitting on the words of the chief disciple. After thinking about it, he replied, I don't know. The Lord said, I will explain the reason to you. That's why we need to get it. Method of knitting medicine. I just mentioned medicine. I was scared to open my mouth. The master stroked his beard and replied, it's not your fault that I was wrong. He had guessed that. The dragon god will come in person, but can't think that. He is so strong that he can defeat the enemy. He thinks that the size of a second-generation disciple is illusory. It's enough to deal with the middle. He bowed his head again, sorry. The master stroked his beard and continued talking. I see why. How does the dragon god paint in your eyes? Foot fantasy narration. You said he was a monster. Even the disciples cannot defeat it. The other students paint. But the dragon god is on a completely different level. The old man picked up his tea and thought about it. He's thinking about the illusory truth. This kid is a genius. More than the town now. Even this child. I also feel the dragon flower. Like a solid wall. It's a problem that can't go away. The next generation of Vo can be crushed by the paint Hoa. He said, can you go again? He asked the chief to ask me. Students are qualified to do that. Foot person put the cup of tea replied, I made a mistake. So I've got to give you a chance to make it right. The people who went to Indonesia this time were preparing for. After that, the sun also acted. But it's not just the mayor who speaks. This time the elders went in person.